showing we don't need roads.
Orlando, good to see you again, man. How are you?
Good, man. How's it going?
Going so well. Seriously, thank you for your time, man. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. I'm going to jump into this. I would imagine that it has to be really liberating getting to play a character over multiple episodes and seasons. You really get the time to kind of flesh them out. Obviously, with a movie, you just have that finite 2 hours and then that's it. So I'm curious, what's a movie character you only got to play once that you really wish you had this kind of time with to get to flesh them out over hours and seasons like you do with Carnival Row?
You know, Balian in Kingdom of Heaven was really a fun character. Well, not it was a sort of interesting doc, an interesting complex character in some ways, and I felt like that was, I could have gone further with that. It was very much like the beginning of the journey with that character.
That film is an absolute, the Ridley Scott extended cut is an absolute stone cold masterpiece, man. An absolute masterpiece.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, man. I agree. I love that.
With this being the final season, you're forced to do something that you have a little bit of experience with, which is saying goodbye to a character. And I'm sort of curious, what did you learn in your experience saying goodbye to Legolas or Will Turner that sort of helped you figure out how you were going to say goodbye to this character?
The great thing, in a way, that one of the things that happened for Carnival Row was we were obviously took a massive break because of COVID, and whilst that was obviously hugely challenging for everyone on the planet as we knew it, and as we know, there was actually interestingly a kind of great opportunity within that for Carnival Row, because we got to go back and look at all the footage that was already shot for season 2 and come back and look at how we could execute, knowing the amount of time we were going to be down for, create what has now and is the great finale for the show, because ultimately we had no original content for the story. There was no books or anything that this show was developed on. It was developed on an original idea, and so it was kind of like as long as a piece of string as far as it would go. But ultimately, with the time that we had out of the show, we were able to think about really bringing it home as a finale. And I got to kind of put a great, like all the actors in the show, put a great button on that, and knowing it was going back to film stuff, we really fleshed out a lot of things that made it interesting. I mean, in the 6th episode, I had this wonderful opportunity to go and look at the internal life, which is a big part of the season for Philo. Is that he's embraced his Fey nature now. He's living on Carnival Row. And what does that mean? And is it just as simple as that? No, of course it isn't, because life is messy. So is, the internal organ, the internal workings of the mind. And so in the 6th episode, we actually physicalize this internal voice that he's got. And it was a bit like, for me, like, the sort of Batman Joker kind of this, what was his internal character going to look like as we physicalized it? And I wanted him to have that kind of sociopathic kind of like craziness that kind of drove him to some sort of insanity, which we see part of him coming undone in the show,
I love that. I'm going to cut you loose on this because I really want to talk about, as an actor, what a set does for you, because I feel like you have worked on some of the greatest of all time, whether it's fantasy like this or Rings or Pirates, or just amazing representations of realism like Black Hawk Down or Kingdom of Heaven. I'm sort of curious, what is the most important thing a set does for you as an actor, and maybe what's the most you have felt a performance has been affected by your surroundings?
The set is I think as an actor, all you really want is a stage. You just want a stage to perform on. And the stage and the set, are so real in the world of Carnival Row. They were so well executed. It was so cinematic and epic in their nature. I mean, I have been on remarkable sets. I'm so blessed, from obviously the reality of Lord of the Rings, even though it was a fantasy, it was grounded in real reality, and Pirates and Kingdom of Heaven was incredible. But honestly, like, Carnival Row is up there with those movies as a set design, and it was so beautifully executed. So, what it does is it just adds layers to a performance, and it feels like you're in the world. So your imagination doesn't have to work as overtime because you're actually in the world. Do you know what I mean? You're actually standing on the Carnival Row. You're looking around and you're seeing the place for real. And so it just like, it's a great gift, honestly.
Well, it's a gift to be able to continue to watch your performances, man. I know you have an insanely busy day, so I really appreciate you taking the time, my friend.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
Dude,
it.
really good to
Thank
see you.
so much, dude. Yeah,
Bye.
you too. Take
Bye,
care.
guys.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.